Okay, tonight we're going to talk about some general characteristics of faces. A lot of you like to draw people and like to draw faces, so I'm going to try to just cover some very basic, interesting things about faces, and if we have time, I'd like to also do a face from a profile. I'm not going to go over like little babies' faces too much, but very quickly in general, they're rounder, their eyes are in the center, and the eyes look really big. The nose is small, the mouth is small, not much hair, small neck, small ears, baby. Adults, teenagers to adult, the head's a little more oval, and not exactly like an egg shape, but I'll take care of that in a minute. If we make a line for the center, the eyes are above the center. So the eyes are going to be in this area. And that would put the eyebrows about right here. And then halfway between the eyebrows and the bottom of the chin would be the bottom of the nose. And then if we double that to go here, that would be the hairline. Let's move the part over to the side. So, if we move these out to the side, from the hairline to the eyebrows to the bottom of the nose, on most people, those three distances are the same. That's one thing that you can memorize. Now, it's not true on everybody. All of our faces are unique and different. It depends on the angle you're looking at the person. The person's mouth might be open. A lot of factors. But in a very general way, these three distances are usually the same. If they're not, things can look a little odd. Let's talk about the nose to start. From the front, a lot of students, when they come in here, they want to draw lines on either side of the nose. But, you know, there just aren't lines on either side of your nose. Go look in the mirror. The side of the nose is often a little darker than the top of the nose. And I think that's where the confusion is. Even though our skin in general is all the same color, because the top of the nose is usually facing the light source, which is above us, it's getting more light than the sides of our nose. So let's diagram that. If this is a light source, a surface that is perpendicular to that is going to be lighter than a surface that's on an angle to the light source. Because per square inch, or whatever unit you want to call, you're going to be getting more light rays on this in this than you will this because of its angle. So sometimes the sides of the nose are going to look a little darker than the top of the nose, and that's all I would really do with something like that. And from the front, you're going to see a lot of variations in people's noses, but in a general way, you're going to see two curls here that come down and under, and you're going to see two curls here for the nostrils. And of course, again, there are millions of variations on noses, but that is a very general sense. You might notice some people's noses get a little wider here at the bridge. Actually, this is the bridge of the nose, and it is between the eyes, where the nose usually narrows a little bit. So let's go to the eyes now. There's an interesting relationship between the eyes and the nose, and we compare them when we're drawing a face, especially if you're trying to get a likeness. The inside corner of the eyes often aligns right above the outside edges of the nose. The peak of the eye isn't usually in the center. It usually is a little bit closer to the nose. The curve on the upper part of the eye is usually a little greater than the curve of the lower eye. Here's a little interesting fact. If you look in the mirror or look at a friend, right here on the lower lid, you can actually see the thickness of your skin on your lower eyelid. You could see it on your upper eyelid too if you could look up, I guess, but the lower eyelid is the easiest place. And then there will always be some kind of a crease here where the eyelid can fold back in. Now, as we know, especially in this room with probably 6 different ethnicities, we have many types of eyes and noses and mouths in the world. I wish I could cover all of them. I'm just going to be kind of general here. But all of them have some of these things in common. Somewhere there's a crease there so that the eyelid can fold back and your eye can be open. The pupil, which is the dark part of your eye, which is the opening in our eye that light comes in, usually on a relaxed person sits right underneath the eyelid, which means that a part of the colored part of your eye, which is called the iris, is under your upper eyelid. A lot of my new students, when they come in, they draw eyes like this. They make the bottom curve a little bit too much, and they just assume that the eye looks like this. But that doesn't feel very natural. This is a more natural looking eye with a relax. Real quickly, the ears in general align with the eyebrows and the bottom of the nose. We could spend a whole class on drawing ears. They are just weird. Every little, there's like 10 things in your ears. There's this outer curl, and then there's this big thing up here, and then there's this little guy right here. There's a name for all of that stuff. Who can tell me what the name, the little thing right here under your nose, that little crease thing that goes in? Who knows what that's called? The Cupid's bow? I've never heard of that. I don't know the name of it. I can't remember. It starts with an F. There's a technical name. I don't know where that name came from.
I think the Cupid's bow is I want to say flagella.
It's something like that. Somebody find that out for us. Okay, so let me get back to the ears here. As you know, some people's ears stick out quite far. Some people's ears, you can hardly see them from the front. They're so tight to their head. And there is a lot going on in ears. They're tricky to paint, I can tell you that. If you've got a picture where you really can see the whole ear, they can be a little challenging. The mouth, halfway between the bottom of the nose and the bottom of the chin, about right here, on most people is either the bottom of the lower lip or the middle of the bottom of the lower lip. So I'm going to make this the bottom of the lower lip. And then the whole mouth usually takes up about 1/3 of this distance between the bottom of the lower lip and the bottom of the nose. And so we'll say this is the top of the upper lip. Now the opening in the mouth on everybody is some kind of a V shape. Sometimes it's very narrow, sometimes it's very wide, and then it goes out in like a wing. And then it might curl up just a little bit, depending on their mood or their attitude. Almost looks like a stick bird, if you were drawing a bird in kind of like a stick format. And then the edge of the upper lip pretty much reflects that shape. And because the top of the upper lip is facing down, it's usually in a little bit of shadow, and you'll usually see that top edge. The bottom lip is facing up towards the light usually, so often you won't even see an edge here or here, but you might see a little darker shape right under the front lower part of the nose. Let me get some eyebrows up here. I'm going to make this person look a lot better here in just a second. First of all, the tops of our heads are often kind of round, but our jaw usually isn't. So I'm going to start to look at some angles. Right around here, between the mouth and the nose, the jaw usually turns. And I'm using straight lines now because I'm trying to stay symmetrical, meaning balanced on both sides, and that's really challenging to do with curves. But it's not so terribly hard to do with straight lines, and then later you can come back and soften those into curves. That in itself is a really valuable drawing tool. And then our hair has thickness, so instead of just drawing it on the top of the head, I'm going to bring it out and then down and up and then around and down. The width of someone's neck will vary dramatically from maybe this wide all the way out to here on an athlete or a football player who has to strengthen their neck because they're always hitting with their head, and you have to have a strong neck to do that. Just a quick tip on hair. Instead of trying to draw thousands of individual hairs, this technique is called the illusion of detail. You'd pick a couple places where you want to put some highlights where the hair bends, and you'd shade up to that and leave a soft edge there. And you can pretty effectively create the illusion of thousands of little hairs just by making these kind of soft shapes. You might put a few strands like that in here and there. Okay, so quickly I want to translate this into a profile. So the main part of the head is a round shape, but the front part of the face and jaw come off of that to come down a little bit. Eyebrows, bottom of the nose, bottom of the chin. So that would put the bridge of the nose here. The nose does come out away from the face, but from the side, the nose comes in past this line. It doesn't stop right here. From the side, it'll feel like the nose comes in. And here's where the upper lip would be. Bottom of the mouth, top of the mouth. The eyes do not sit way out here on the front of the face. They are back in a socket back here. Because your eyes are your most sensitive sense, and they have to be protected. So the way we have evolved, we are built to protect our eyes. If you hit a wall with your face like this, the bone around your eye and your nose protect your eye because it's back inside that socket. So it's way back in here. Something like that. The ears are way back here behind the jaw. So something like that from the side, okay? You can do the front. I'd like you all to try the front. You can do the front and side if you like. I'm not going to make the side profile view mandatory, but I thought it would be interesting to go over. And that's it. Thank you.